one topic that is always at the center of the examiner in UPSC is growth and development of technology and devices during the phase of Delhi Sultanate. Clear? Because Delhi Sultanate was marked by a great phase of technological advancement in different sectors, and therefore this technological advancements needs to be given separate treatment for our prelims examination. So we'll come to the growth and development of technology and devices in Sultanate phase. Very important one. Clear? Now coming to this. Clear? This is very important. Clear? So technological advancement during the Sultanate phase. Clear? Now just understand first of all technological advancement. First major technological advancement we need to discuss related to agriculture. Clear? So what were major developments in agricultural technology? Major advancements in agricultural technology. Coming to agriculture technology, here also we'll discuss about the terms. Do remember these terms. Terms are asked. Clear? Now coming to agriculture technology. Now here also we'll refer to ancient India also, because some technology was considered to be developed in ancient India. How far they were replicated in medieval India, we'll come to that. Ancient India will be referring off and on. It's not over, because we are looking from the prelims perspective and how the questions are framed. Clear? So depending on the nature of questions being framed, we'll be referring to all those advancement in ancient India and how they were replicated and developed in medieval times. Clear? First major development in agriculture technology was related to plow. Clear? Plowing the field basically for agriculture. Clear? Now coming to plow. Clear? Now first of all, clear, we all know why we have to refer to ancient India. We all know that use of hoe or hoeing, that is to basically unearth the ground. Clear? The use of hoe or hoeing was basically followed in India since centuries back, from ancient times only. Clear? In fact, archaeological evidences indicate a site in Indus Valley civilization, the site being known as Kalibangan, which provide the evidence of furrowed field. Clear? So that provide the evidence of furrowed field. Furrowed field means the field was plowed enough. Clear? So this was plowed. Clear? And archaeological evidence also made it clear that this plowing at Kalibangan was done with ironless plow. So because iron was not discovered at that time, so the field was plowed with ironless plow, and we have the first evidence of furrowed field in Indus Valley civilization at Kalibangan, which indicate that the fields were properly furrowed for proper germination of seeds, but this was done with ironless plow. Clear? This evidence is there. There's no doubt about it. Clear? At the same time, coming to plow. Clear? Next major development was iron was discovered around 1000 BC at Atranji Khera, located in the district of Eta in modern Uttar Pradesh. Clear? And with discovery of iron in 1000 BC at Eta, iron began to be used by the Aryans to use, or to rather unearth the field much easily. So in Indus Valley we have ironless plow, because iron was not known to them. Iron was not discovered. The only metal known to them was basically copper, and by mixing copper and tin they developed bronze. Clear? But they never had any idea of iron. Clear? Iron was discovered in 1000 BC. That in fact proved to be revolutionary, which transferred the life of Rig-Vedic Aryans into later Vedic phase, where the life became settled and sedentary due to practice of agriculture. So Atranji Khera was marked, the place was a place where iron was discovered in 1000 BC, and thereafter iron plow began to be used. Iron plow began to be used in the later Vedic phase. Iron plow began to be used in the later Vedic phase, for agriculture, for furrowing the field. Clear? This was in ancient India. They will give you connecting questions from ancient medieval India regarding technology. Clear? Now, at the same time, coming to the medieval phase, what about the plowing of the field? Agriculture remained to be a primary economic activity in medieval India also, and therefore, clear, we have a reference of even furrowing the field or following the field in a work, a Persian work. This Persian work is known as Miftah ul Fuzula. Clear? So there is a Persian work known as Miftah ul Fuzula, and this Miftah ul Fuzula provides illustration of furrowing the field. Clear? And in this work it is clearly mentioned that field was ploughed with iron shear. Clear? So field was ploughed with iron shear tied to the bullocks. Clear? So field was flowed with iron blocks tied with the oxen, and it was operated by the men. Clear? So field was furrowed through iron shear tied to two oxen, and a human being. Clear? So in this way, clear, the or rather the hard soil was unearthed, and therefore the field was furrowed so that seeds could be distributed for proper germination. Clear? So Miftah al-Fuzula mentions about the iron shear, and this iron shear was tied up with two oxen and a human being who furrowed the field. That is even practiced to some extent in India in contemporary times. Clear? So this is the brief history of plowing the field, starting with hoe, that is the kurpi, from the ancient time, that is Kalibangan, and we have the first evidence of furrowed field from Kalibangan, which was furrowed with ironless plow. Iron was discovered at Atrunchikera in Eta, and in later Vedic phase, iron plow began to be used for cultivation, and that led to cultivation in lower and middle Gangetic plains, that led to cultivation of rice, paddy cultivation in waterlogged regions, and this paddy cultivation led to economic diversification and even second urbanization in 6th century BC. In the medieval phase, clear, iron shear tied with two oxen and a human being was used to furrow the field, and that is mentioned in the Persian work Miftah ul Fuzula, which was written in 1460. Clear? So it was written in 1460 AD, that is 15th century AD, and that indicates advancement in technology related to agriculture from ancient to medieval times. Very important one, technological advancement is asked. Clear? Now coming to another major thing related to agriculture. Another major thing coming related to agriculture after plowing. Second major development related to agriculture technology is sowing the seeds. Clear? So next major technological advancement is related to sowing the seeds. Clear? Now what about sowing the seeds? Clear? Sowing seeds, basically it is broadcasting method. Broadcasting method means basically the scattering the seeds in the field for germination. Clear? This concept of basically scattering the seeds or broadcasting the seeds, having them in the large cloth, clear, or bag, a bag tied over the shoulder. This practice was followed right from ancient India, whereby the seeds were thrown, or seeds were distributed, scattered by taking away from the bag, tied at the back, and that was followed right from ancient times. Clear? But at the same time, clear, the seed drill began to be used. Clear? Used to distribute seeds uniformly, and there's a controversy related to the concept of seed drill. Clear? So seed drill, when the seed drill began to be used, initially it was manually done, that is large bag was tied up at the back, one or rather handful of the seeds were taken and they're scattered or broadcasted on the field. This was the traditional method. Clear? But in course of time, seed drill began to be used so that uniform scattering of the seeds could be done in the battlefield. Clear? Some scholars believe that seed drill can be traced back to the Vedic age. Clear? Vedic age obviously means the later Vedic age, because agriculture was largely practiced in the later Vedic age. Clear? But at the same time, even though it is said by some scholars that it was started during Vedic age, clear, largely the most concrete evidence for this is that seed drill began to be used in the western coast of India for the first time. Seed drills were used for the first time in the western coast of India, western coast of which is mentioned by a Portuguese, traveler Barbosa. So Portuguese traveler Barbosa mentions for the first time the use of seed drill, and this was largely related to mentioned in connection with rice cultivation. Clear? So with respect to rice cultivation in western coast of India, Barbosa mentions about the use of seed drill. Clear? So some scholars believe that seed drill was originally used in the Vedic age, but some scholars believe that concrete evidence of the use of seed drill is provided by Barbosa, who was a Portuguese traveler who came to India in medieval times, and he mentioned that the seed drill was used for rice cultivation in the western coast of India. Clear? This was one development or another development related to agriculture technology. Clear? Now, next major development related to agriculture technology is related to harvesting, then threshing, harvesting, threshing, and then winnowing. Harvesting, threshing, and winnowing. Clear? Now what harvesting? Clear? Now initially harvesting of the crop, harvesting was done with a sickle, that is cutting of the crops. Clear? So initially harvesting was done with originally by sickle. Clear? So sickle was used basically for harvesting the crop. Clear? And at the same time threshing was done by using oxen. Clear? So threshing of the crop was done by the help of oxen that moved around the crop. Clear? Threshing was done by oxen who walked around, and at the same time threshing floor. Clear? At the same time is basically the crops are put on threshing floor as well. Wind power was used in winnowing in order to separate the chaff from grains. Clear? So wind power was used. Wind power was used to separate the chaff from the grains. Clear? So first of all harvesting was done with sickle. Harvesting was done with sickle, threshing was done by oxen, and winnowing was done by wind power, whereby seed was to be separated from the chaff. Clear? Because with air, the lighter material chaff could be separated and seed could fall down on the ground and we could achieve the seed. Clear? This was followed in medieval times, no doubt, right from ancient times also, but medieval times became very prominent because with sickle made of iron, it became very important for harvesting the crop, then threshing the crop, and then separating the seed from the chaff through the wind power of winnowing. Clear? These were followed medieval times. So agriculture techniques include first of all the use of plow, then the use of sowing, then the concept of harvesting, threshing, and winnowing. Clear? The most important thing was what were the technological advancement with respect to irrigational devices. Clear? Now there are many debate around irrigational devices of medieval times when it got evolved. We'll come to those irrigational devices as well. So within agriculture technology, the next major component is of irrigational devices. Clear? So coming to the fourth one, and the fourth one is irrigational devices. Irrigational devices. Clear? Irrigational devices. Now just understand. Clear? What was the traditional method of irrigating the field in ancient and medieval times? Clear? The most important techniques which were used in from ancient times for irrigation was, the most simple technique was to draw water from the well with a rope and bucket by using hands. Clear? So most technical thing was to draw water with rope tied with bucket, clear? Bucket, clear, in small size. So traditional method was simple, to draw water with rope tied with bucket. It was pulled through hands. This was the most important technique. Clear? Second technique was basically application of pulleys or charkhi. Second major technique was applying of pulleys, which is also known as charkhi. Pulleys or charkhi. Clear? Now charkhi was basically the rope, bucket, rope bucket which was tied with the moving material so that it could be lifted. Clear? So charkhi was basically a pulley. Clear? There was a well, and around the charkhi basically the rope was fixed, and through charkhi it was pulled. That consumed less energy, and the bucket could be lifted from the well to procure water. This was the concept of pulleys or charkhi, which was the second method, traditional again. Clear? The third method was improvement method of rope bucket pulley. Clear? So it was basically rope bucket pulley, also known as rope bucket pulley system. So that consumed less human energy, manual energy. Now, third improvisation of rope bucket pulley was clear. Clear. Now, the concept was that in North India, there was a concept of charsa. Clear. Now, charsa began to be used for procuring water. What was the concept of charsa? Clear? Charsa was basically a concept. Charsa was basically a concept in which, clear, in which immense quantity of water could be raised from the well with one single haul up. Clear? Meaning thereby, what in charsa, large number of pulleys were connected. Sir, pulleys are used in ancient medieval India. Pulleys were used basically in medieval India. In ancient India, this was the technique followed. That is, water tubing taken from the rope and the bucket. Traditional method. From medieval India, we began to use the concept of pulleys or charkhi, rope bucket pulley, and then began to use charsa. Clear? Now, charsa was basically what happened. Clear? It was also rope bucket pulley system, but it was not given handed by the manually human being. It was basically taken by another metal like bulls. Clear? So bulls were used basically to track or to raise the water from the bullock. Clear? So bullock track was used. Clear? So the moreover the bullock track was like a ram. Clear? So in charsa it was the same thing, rope bucket pulley, but it was basically bulls which were used to catch or rather take the pulley or take the rope so that large number of water can be, a huge quantity of water could be lifted from the well, which was not humanly possible. Clear? And this bulls used to run on an area which was almost like a ramp. Clear? So it was almost a rank so that smoothly the bull can pass away. Clear? And ramp was in a slanting way so that it could become easier for the bull to go to the lower area, and meanwhile the bucket could be lifted, large bucket could be lifted to lift the water from the wells. This concept of using the rope bucket pulley with the help of bulls on a ram, this concept came to known as charsa in medieval India. Clear? This was the third major technique that was used. Clear? The fourth major technique was basically first class lever principle. Clear? So it was semi-mechanical technique. The fourth was semi-mechanical technique. Semi-mechanical technique was applied in the fourth phase in medieval India, which is also known as first class lever principle. First class lever principle. First class lever principle. Clear? Now, what is this first class lever principle? A long rope is lashed to the fork of an upright beam or trunk of a tree. Clear? Especially meant for this purpose to put in a swinging position. Clear? And at the same time, swinging position. Clear? The bucket is fastened to a rope whose other end is tied on the one side of the swinging pole. Clear? Swinging hole. Clear? The pole's other end carries a counterweight a little heavier than the bucket with the water. Clear? Thus, the fulcrum forms at the center of the pole with weight and counterweight effort at its two ends. Clear? This device came to be known as shaduf. Clear? So, in first class lever principle, what has happened is that there was a large trunk of a tree taken. This large trunk of a tree was tied up or rather on the well. Clear? And at the same time, the more than the weight of the bucket, slightly more than that weight, the other weight was attached on the end of the other side of the trunk. Clear? And when the bucket got filled up, it was just pushed back and the bucket got lifted. Clear? This technique of first class lever principle, through which the weight and counterweight could be used to minimize the effort for for lifting the water. This concept of using weight and counterweight to minimize the effort, this device came to be known as shaduf. This device was known as Shaduf, which was used in medieval times. Clear. It is also called Tula in Sanskrit. Shaduf is a term used in Persian. This was known as Tula in Sanskrit. This was known as Tula in Sanskrit. Clear. Sanskrit. And in Bihar and Bengal, it was known as Dhankli. In Bihar and Bengal, it was known as Dhankli. Clear. Dhankli was also used. Clear. Sometimes it was also used as Lat or Lat. Lat or Lat. Clear. So there were different terms used for this: Shaduf, Tula, Dhankli or Lat. Clear. So this was with a semi-mechanical device. In this semi-mechanical technique, what happened was there was a large trunk of the tree taken. On the one side of the tree, the bucket was tied up. On the other side, the more than the weight of the filled water of the bucket was kept together, and the bucket was allowed to go deep. Once the bucket filled up the water, it was left, and therefore the outer counterweight basically pushed down and the water came up, and that could be used for irrigation and other purposes. This device came to be known as Shaduf, Tula, Dhankli or Lata or Lat. Clear. This was next major divide. The fifth major device which was used for irrigation, this fifth major device was known as Shakya. Was known as Shakya. It was also known as Rahat. It was also known as Persian wheel. It was also known as Persian wheel. And in Sanskrit, it is known as Araghat or Ghatiyantra. All the terms. Araghat or Ghatiyan. Clear? So Shakya, Rahat, Persian wheel, Araghat or Ghatiyan. Now what was this? All the name two common thing. Clear? This, according to this, there was a pulley in center. That pulley was tied up with rope. Clear? Which could be rotated not manually but mechanically, and this pulley had large amount of rope connected with the buckets or with the pots. Clear? These pots rotated, the empty pots went to the water level, got filled up, the filled pulleys or filled pots came up, and they automatically got drained up and got emptied and again got filled up, and this was rotated, and therefore mechanically the water was lifted from the wells. Clear? This concept of lifting the water was known as Persian wheel. In Persian, we also call it Sakya and Rahat, and in Sanskrit, we call it Araghat or Ghatiyantra. Clear? It was used basically right from, some scholars believe they were used right from ancient times. Sanskrit term therefore is known as Araghat or Ghatiyantra, but it is largely believed that it was used in medieval times, and in medieval times it was known as Persian wheel because it originated from Persia, but in India it was known as Shakya or Rahat. Clear? These were basically irrigation devices, and this irrigation devices became very important one. Clear? In fact, clear, the reason is that this was in the form of a garland, therefore it is known as Persian wheel. Since it gave relief to the people, it was known as Rahat. Clear? And Ghatiyantra because large number of pots were tied up. So all the terms are relevant, and these indicate progress in agricultural technique, agriculture technology. Clear? So in agriculture technology, you need to go through different major technological advancements related to plowing of the field, related to sowing of the seeds, related to harvesting, threshing and winnowing. Clear? Then irrigational devices, starting with simple technique of to draw water with rope bucket, then rope bucket pulley known as pulley, charkhi, then ramp bullays known as charsa, then semi-mechanical device known as saduf or tula, and then finally sakya, rahat, Persian wheel, araghat or Ghatiyantra. Clear? Be prepared, the terms are used. Clear? Pulleys were largely used in medieval India, not in ancient India. Clear? This was all technological advancement done related to agriculture. Clear?